Hi guys, what's up? This is Conana here, and I'm gonna show you a new build, ZvP build actually. So this is Zerber's Protoss on the map Python, and I really like this build. This is the 9 Overpool Speedling build, and I don't know. I just recently learned it from Mondragon, watching his replays again. So I've been trying out these new builds myself, and I've been finding that I've had quite a lot of success with them. And not only is it good because you can transition to mid-game early or whatever, but for ladders, it's a very great build because it generally, if your opponent is stupid, then you can get very fast games at low level and just mass game very quickly. So that's why I like this build so much. Just a lot of cool things, and generally what you do is just 9 Overlord, and then you get 9 pool. And after the 9 pool, you get a couple of drones, and then you make an extractor at 10. So you can see I'm seeing his nexus right here. And what's great about this build is if they see your Overlord, they're generally going to send a probe, right? They're going to try and block your hatchery. So when you're doing this build, they won't be able to block your hatchery. So also it puts pressure on them and gets them to make cannons first if they are doing a fast expand, which 99% of the time Protosses do. So I'm getting my extractor right now. Make sure you stop larva after you get your stop making drones after you get 10 supply. A general rule of thumb is that when the spawning pool is at 350 health, you should have 1 larva that's not being used. So that way you'll be able to get 6 Zerglings as soon as the spawning pool finishes. So basically what you do is you just get 100 gas, get your Speedling, and then there's a couple good things you can do. What I really like about this build is if you just step into the Protoss player's shoes, you realize that they're not going to be able to get any scouting in. They won't be able to know what you're doing. You could be going mass Zerglings, you could be macroing like a macrobeast, or you could just be going for hydras. Maybe you're just going standard lurkers. So it's pretty crucial to get this first probe down, because then they won't know if you're continuing Lings. It forces them to pull probes and actually defend that expansion, because the cannons alone are not going to be able to block off your Zerglings. And it's really nice to get off this first probe, because after you get the first probe dead, they're not going to be able to get any more scouting in, because you're going to have your Lings right outside of his base. So really nice here. You get the probe down right here, and then you just put your Lings right outside his base. You can see he's already starting to pull a couple of probes for defense. And I got my expansion a little bit late. You should be getting your expansion at 16, a little bit earlier, maybe 15, but it's pretty fine. Usually you don't do this build on maps with ramps, because all they can do is just block the ramp. But even so, you can just deny scouting, which is already a crucial part of the game. So even if you can't do damage with these Lings, you can deny scouting. I thought I was going to be able to do some damage with the Lings because he didn't have that great of cannon placement. So I did continue getting Lings. You usually stop at 10 or 12 Lings though. So yeah, at this point he's trying to scout, but he's not going to be able to get any scouting done. And I had a couple of choices at this point. I could have just run past, killed the cannons, because he was not defending the cannons, but I wanted to play it a little safe. And they can't scout at all right now, so what I was planning on doing this game was just 4 hat hydra, 3 hat hydra, something like that, because you need lots of cannons to defend against that, unless you tech hega fast, which he was not really doing. So 4 hat hydra is definitely a very strong transition, because they're not going to know what you're doing because of this. So you can see he pulled his probes off the ramp. I'll show you with my screen. Yeah, he pulled his probes, so I decided, there's a big gap in the middle, I can just send all my Zerglings in and do a lot of damage. And people like Mondragon, he usually gets only 4 5 Lings in, but he kills 8 or 9 probes, which is just huge amounts. And when you need to macro, you can just attack something stationary like a nexus or a pylon, and then you can just harass when you're not macroing. So really nice build. There's nothing he can do to defend against this right now. So that's what's really good about this build. You can just get so many probe kills, and you can see he's getting pretty angry. So if you can deny scouting, you can just run in, do some damage, you can kill them right there if you kept going Zerglings, and you can just transition to anything just because they're not going to be able to know what you're doing. So I was going to get my hydras out, but he did actually leave before the game was over, just probably because he was annoyed. There's so many replays of Mondragon where he just runs in 4 Lings and the players leave, you know, they immediately leave. It's kind of funny to watch, but you know, it's a great build if you can do damage. But just by denying scouting, you do tons of damage already. So GG right there.